with both Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance. Embarrassing the U.S. at a defense conference in Europe, a federal judge lambasting Trump, Elon Musk and his Doge dummies, firing the people who protect our nuclear weapons, it was a busy news week, to say the least. And yet CNN still found the time to put out a puff piece on the weakest member of the U.S. Senate, Mitch McConnell. Yes, the man who is single-handedly more responsible for this Trump presidency than Trump himself is now a party of one. McConnell had his historic moment. He could have gone down in history as the most powerful Senate party leader to ever hold the position. But instead, he chose this.
With police officers bleeding and broken glass covering Capitol floors, he kept repeating election lies and praising the criminals. If President Trump were still in office, I would have carefully considered whether the House managers proved their specific charge. By the strict criminal standard, the president's speech probably was not incitement. But in this case, the question is moot because former President Trump is constitutionally not eligible for conviction. Put another way, in the language of today, President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen. Unless the statute of limitations is run, still liable for everything he did while he's in office. Didn't get away with anything yet.
McConnell could have led the Republican Party to impeach Trump, but he chose not to rile the anger of the MAGA base, and now Trump is back in power. And the havoc that is being wreaked right now, you can lay at Mitch McConnell's feet.
If you tell me they're lying right now because what the do you mean that I'm not going to get my SNAP benefits? What the do you mean?
We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward.
Beyond betrayal. They used us during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party. They actually told us that it was not going to touch the documented people.
I mean, you're an educator. You didn't vote for Trump eliminating federal funds
No,
here.
I did not vote for that. I do not think that's what the voters want. If we have federal cuts, then that's going to mean bigger classroom sizes. I would lose teachers, first and foremost. It's devastating.
And yet, CNN just ran this puff piece on McConnell. McConnell, free from leadership constraints, bucks Trump and the evolving GOP. So your first clue that this is going to be a puff piece is that they use evolving GOP instead of MAGA. They can't bring themselves to say that the Republican Party has been replaced by the MAGA party of hucksters, liars, and butt kissers. And then they lead off with this. Senator Mitch McConnell was a generational force for the Republican Party, using procedural tactics and political will to stymie much of former President Barack Obama's agenda, hand President Trump key first-term political victories, and deliver a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court majority. Now he's the odd man out. Weeks after relinquishing his leadership post as a new GOP majority was sworn into office, McConnell finds himself likely in the final stage of his career, untethered from the party he'd led. Untethered? Odd man out? Mitch McConnell is now the least powerful member of the Senate. Earlier, we all speculated that McConnell's no votes could shield other Republicans to vote no on the clown candidates as well. They didn't. But that got spun by CNN as this. He is eager to demonstrate he has an independent streak and some deep convictions that he could not always reveal as a majority leader, said Indiana Senator Todd Young, a Republican. He's liberated. And what of McConnell's hand-picked replacement? John Thune, the guy who could use his power as majority leader to save the Republican Party from the MAGA movement? He's totally serving Trump now and leaving McConnell out in the cold. CNN whitewashed that by writing this. McConnell's votes against Trump's nominees haven't bothered fellow Senate Republicans, including the party's new majority leader, South Dakota Senator John Thune, who said McConnell has warned him and the party's whip, Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, ahead of time. Those weren't surprises, Thune told CNN on Thursday. He's been clear with us where he is on Trump's nominees. But if you really want an assessment of how little power McConnell has, take it from the horse's ass himself.
I have no idea if he had polio. All I can tell you about him is that he shouldn't have been leader. He knows that. He voted against Bobby. He votes against almost everything now. He's a very bitter guy. And we have a very strong party. And he's almost not even really a very powerful member. I'd say he's not he's lost his power. And it's affected his vote.
Wow. When Trump can dance on your grave, you know you're dead. McConnell could have been an historic figure, but he always lacked vision, courage, and ethics. So now he's just going to be a man without a party or a country, and he deserves every bit of it. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.